You're listening to Entrepreneur's Enigma, a podcast about the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial journey. Every week, your host Seth Goldstein interviews entrepreneurs from all walks of life about their entrepreneurial journeys. From store owners to Fortune 500 CEOs, we all have stories to tell. So sit back and join us for the next 20 or so minutes while we explore the entrepreneurial world.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneur's Enigma podcast. I am your host, as always, Seth, with Podcast Mastery and Goldstein Media. Today I have Peace Ike here. She is, just wait for this. Her name is perfect for what she does. It's almost like her parents foreshadowed this. So Peace is an executive coach, dialogue facilitator, and cultural strategist. So you can see where we're going with this, who works across both secular and faith-based spaces to build bridges and foster cultural transformation, also known as make peace. But the boom, I'm sure that's not the first time you've heard that. But yeah, so I just think it's perfect. I met Peace at a networking event, and she told me what she did. My mouth dropped, and I was just like, "That's perfect. That's like awesome." So, but before making peace and helping people make peace and dialogue, all that stuff, she is still a doctor of physical therapy, but she's a recovering doctor of physical therapy because she realized that while fixing broken bodies, she's now replacing broken bonds. That's her words, not mine. Hopefully I didn't brutalize that eloquent sentence that will be in the show notes for you to really enjoy. But so Peace, how are you today?
Hey Seth, I'm good. I'm grateful to be here. How are you?
Pretty good. So have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? Because when you were a doctor of physical therapy, you kind of get out, right? And you do your pay your dues. But did you go out on your own as a physical therapist as well, or is this your first endeavor?
No, I did. I started working at an outpatient facility. I moved around from facility to facility, but somewhere along the way, I ended up becoming a private contractor and kind of working for myself, which allowed me to do a lot of other things that I was passionate about. So
Exactly.
yeah.
I found your way into this. That's awesome. So what made you want to become a physical therapist? We'll start there and we'll get into other stuff.
Yeah, I was always one of these weird kids who just knew what she wanted to do from like a very young age. I was probably 8 years old. I saw a movie. I remember the movie now. It's called Joni. It was about a woman who had a diving accident. True story.
Wow.
True story of a woman called Joni Erickson Tata. But she had a diving accident, fractured her neck, became paralyzed. I'm watching this movie as an 8-year-old girl, and I see somebody like stretching her legs and helping her get mobile, and I was just like, "I wanna do that," and I just
At
stayed the
8.
course. At 8,
Wow. So at 8,
never looked back.
you didn't want to be a conflict mediator and transformer.
Yeah, well, the funny
If you
thing
had said
is
that, I've been like, wow. I mean, this is still
oh,
impressive that
yeah.
at 8 you wanted to be a physical therapist.
Yeah. Well, I've always been drawn to fixing broken things,
I
and
love it.
looking back over my life, I've been in the middle of conflict my whole life, and it's my favorite
Mm.
place to be, so it was just a thread that wove through my life story, so
Isn't it fun looking back and saying like, wow, this is an interesting weave. Very
yeah.
cool. It's
Yeah,
very
definitely.
cool. So you did the physical therapy thing, and in 2018 you launched a nonprofit called the Gathering Place Philly, which is a community engagement initiative promoting healthy citywide flourishing through events and, of course, constructive dialogue. How'd that come
Yeah.
about? Like, how'd you make it from physical therapy to conflict stuff?
Well, when you're working with a physical therapist, I don't know if you've ever had an injury,
Oh gosh.
but if you ever had an injury, you're with your physical therapist, you see them about 2 to 3 times a week.
Hmm.
And just like when you go to the hairstylist, you are as a therapist, I would hear their life story.
Yeah.
I'm stretching them out, I'm mobilizing them, and they are telling me everything that's going on in their world. And so I started to recognize that my favorite part about what I was doing was not just helping people recover physically,
Yeah.
but helping them work out their life problems. I was
Oh, that's all. So
truly
you
coaching.
sort of fell into that.
I just fell
Ooh.
into it. And there was a thread, like all
Yeah.
of the stories, all that people shared, like the thread was just this like disconnection with loved ones, relational brokenness, people like losing touch with their kids or,
Yeah.
divorces. There's just like people really dealing with like relational traumas and problems. And so I was just like, okay, I feel like there's more to what I'm meant to do than just working on bodies. And that's when I decided to found the nonprofit space, which was really created as a third space. If you ever
Yeah.
heard the term third
Yeah.
space, it's a place that's not your home, it's not your office, but it's a place you can go to and have healthy relationships with other people. And we are desperately in need of those in
Oh my
society.
God. That's an
So I said, I'm
understatement.
just going to build one. And so I founded the Gathering Place, and that's how that started.
Because why not? If it's not there, build it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you
And
build
people
it,
came?
they will come.
And people came?
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely. We did all sorts of awesome events. And yeah, it really grew into a wonderful community. Really
Is it
did.
still around or is it morph into something else?
It's still around, but a lot of the work I do out of that is decentralized. So now
Okay.
a lot of the people that were part of that community that I've continued in relationship
Mhm.
with, I'll meet them for dinner, I'll meet them for coffee. I'm often offering coaching, I'm offering counseling. So
Okay.
it's
It
alive in a different way.
morphed. It morphed. It
Yeah.
evolved.
Yeah.
That's cool. Because you morphed from physical therapy into the gathering place into what you do now. That's We're gonna take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show. Wow,
Mhm.
ooh, very cool. I like
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
like that.
Life is a journey.
It is a journey, and it's a red thread. I mean, there's definitely a red thread that goes through everything.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree.
That's awesome. So you've worked corporately or in doctor's offices and whatnot,
Mhm.
and then you've also worked for yourself as a physical therapist. What's the best thing about being an entrepreneur in your mind?
Oh man, I mean, you get to redefine yourself. There are
Mhm.
no limits. I honestly really believe this that everybody has a little entrepreneur in them,
Oh yeah,
but maybe not the courage that they need to actually pursue their dreams. Yeah.
I love
We've
that.
all got things that we want to do. We've all got things we want to build, and it's unique to our design, unique to our red thread. But it takes bravery. And you only get one life to live, and I think a lot of people weigh the costs and they feel like, "Oh, it's not worth it." But I think if you've got a dream, man, it's always worth it. It's
It's
always
always
worth it.
worth it. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
On the flip side, what keeps you up at night as an entrepreneur?
Oh, man.
Oh
Well,
man,
the
a
work I
lot.
do, a
Yeah,
lot I mean, I'm in the trenches, I'm
yeah.
managing conflict in corporate spaces and in community spaces, and, I I know a lot of secrets. Like,
Yeah.
when I'm mediating, like, conflict resolution means that you hear one side out and you hear the other side out, and a lot of times those are private moments, and they share everything about what's going on, da 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 da,
Mhm.
and you have to kind of digest that,
Oh my
make sure it
god.
doesn't bias you, and then take that back into a mediation session where it's like you know more than set out to know, but you're being responsible with that information
Knowledge is
so that you
power and
can
helpful,
y-
yeah.
yeah, so that you can help bring a constructive outcome without taking sides. So
Ooh,
I go to bed with a lot of thoughts, but I love it. It doesn't weigh me down. Conflict is my favorite place to be, like I said. So it invigorates me, and I love bringing solutions to problems.
that's awesome. And so what's the most important thing to carry with you all the time?
Oh man, when you say thing, do you mean material thing?
You can go as
Or
woo-woo as you wanna get or as physical as you wanna get, or you can do
okay,
both. I'll let you do
yeah.
both.
Okay, well, this one for me is easy. It's human dignity. It's
Oh,
human dignity.
mhm.
I really truly don't care how wildly wrong I may think you are. And talking about you as in the, collective you.
Yeah.
You have dignity, and I'm going to treat you with respect. I think we've lost that
Oh
in
my god.
society. And if we can hold on to that little seed of, you know, I'm going to humanize you, even in disagreement, we would do much better as a culture in our disagreements. And we don't do that
Yeah.
very well. So, Yeah.
It always gets personal. It doesn't always have to be
Always gets
personal.
personal. Exactly. The thing about that is, when you go into corporate spaces, you're doing culture trading, which
Mm,
is what I do for corporations. It's like, how do I help you create a culture that thrives, where
yeah,
everybody can work and collaborate well together so that
yeah.
you can perform better? Um, you can't go into those spaces and already assume that this person's right and this person's wrong. And I always say it's a very non-prescriptive approach. I'm not there to tell you you need to change and you need to do better. And I'm there to say, hey, what's important to you? And how do we pull out the best in you so that you bring your best self to work every day? And that never fails. Never fails.
Oh my God, I love it. So, Peace, where can people find you online? Where do you hang out the most?
Oh man. Well, LinkedIn is a great place to find my professional work. It's Peace Ike Connects, whatever the first part is, linkedin.in/, but Peace Ike Connects.
Yes.
Um, I have a Facebook as well where I share a little bit more of my community work and
Oh,
my corporate work. So you can find it. It's at the table official. If you're into civil discourse and political discourse and how to do that better, that is my Instagram. All of my Instagram, it's a little edgy. You got to be a little
oh,
sensational now on the social medias. So
yeah.
my Instagram, which is Set the Table Official, is all about really challenging people about the way they see others, the way that they are influenced by
Mm,
narratives, and how that impacts how they have dialogue. So if you like that stuff, Instagram, Set the Table Official.
awesome. And we'll have all those in the show notes, so you don't have to diligently take notes, or hit rewind here. They'll be in the show notes. And Peace, thank you so much for being on this quick episode. It's so great to meet you in person, and we'll see everyone next week.
You're welcome.
That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneur's Enigma, please consider giving us a review in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps us reach new listeners. If you like Entrepreneur's Enigma, consider the other shows on the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcast.net.